welcome this entire batch. I know I could not actually be present on the orientation day, but I sent a video message for each one of you for having chosen Sri Ramachandra for your medical education, the MBBS education. I know you are all from different parts of the country, and also some of them are from other countries as NRI students. I welcome each one of you. These are extremely difficult days. As you know, most of you have been coming to the profession. You are coming in at a time when there is a huge pandemic across the whole world. The numbers are just spiraling in the second wave in India. As you have seen in the newspapers and other things, we have almost crossed per day about 3.5 lakh new cases. So there are lots of things that as students, medical students, you have a responsibility towards this pandemic in educating people. And there are three important things that you must try and understand and educate every person whom you come in contact. First is, I know these are online meetings where you are all in the comforts of your room or your house or wherever you are. So I don't find many of you actually wearing a mask. But obviously, when you are going to be around with other people, mask is a must. So one of the important criteria is to have a mask all the time, except at the times when you are alone in a particular place. The second important concept is social distancing. Why I am again telling this is in all my this thing I am telling all the classes to have at least about 3 to 5 minutes of discussion on COVID, so that all of you are constantly kept aware of what is required. Now, social distancing for students, particularly in the younger age group, is not easy because you are all people who have just come to know each other. So there will be some occasion, but as a policy during these times, you don't know how these things spread and where from each person is getting and how it is spreading to another person. So this is another important concept that you should understand. Avoid actually getting into groups of even more than 3 or 4, and even when you have to do that, wear the mask, and do not actually interact for more than 15 minutes. When you do these things, I think the chances of getting the infection are very, very minimal. The third important concept is hand sanitization. This is one of the very important infection control practices that each one of you should do. And this is a habit which once you start building up right from now, it will stand you in good stead, pandemic or no pandemic. Before getting into contact with the patient, after getting into contact with the patient, with every chance, there should be a possibility for you to have a hand wash. And when you do that hand wash, you should actually be doing it appropriately. And many of the infection control videos will be available for you to learn this technique, and you should do it for almost 20 seconds. So if we are able to follow these principles, and now of course the vaccination is available. So as the head of the institution, I request that all healthcare workers, in particular the medical doctors, they have to be immunized, and for that we have made some arrangements. So please make use of the facilities without crowding. It is not that 250 all of you come on the same day and ask for vaccination on the same time. I'm sure Ganesh and other coordinators of the program will be able to ensure that you have this chance of getting. Now, of course, it's available across various centers. It's not essential that you must take only in Ramachandra. You should be able to produce certificates of vaccination as early as possible, so that these online sessions can all become on-site sessions. And that is something which most of you must be craving for. And there is some sort of a patient interaction also that you must do. So the earlier everybody is vaccinated, we will be bold enough to see. You know that even after vaccination, the immunity does not develop immediately. It takes about 6 weeks to 2 months before you are safe. So to that extent, it is essential that you must get into the board of some of these principles. Be safe and be sort of taking care of not only yourself but also some of the senior members in your family, your parents, and other people. So, with those words about COVID, I will now move on to actually share my slides. One of the changes that the new curriculum has actually brought about since 2019 is to provide you with a chance on a foundation course. Now, this was conceptualized almost with a planning of almost 1 or 2 years, and I would just want to tell you that during our time, although as a profession we are expected to sort of save lives and be of help to humanity, invariably on day one, the first thing that you are probably introduced to is the cadaver, to do some dissection or some online, to actually face with a dead person. Um, Actually, conceptually, we all questioned about this particular concept. It is important. Of course, we all have to respect the cadaver. We learn quite a lot out of the cadavers by your dissection and knowing the anatomical and structural details of the body. However, there was a felt need that probably this should start off maybe after 3 or 4 weeks after the course actually begins. So there was a lot of discussion. We wanted to have it for 2 months. Then we felt that already the first phase has been reduced to only 12 months. So finally, it has come around to about 1 month of the foundation course. And there are very, very important components that are discussed in this for the benefit of all the students who have joined. You must understand that in our times, or even Dr. Ganesh's time or the next generation, there was no real chance for people to learn about alternative systems of medicine. As an allopathic doctor, sometimes we don't even know what an Ayurvedic medicine is or how things sort of have to be dealt with. Similarly, the basic life support, if you take a country like South Korea, all the general public, they themselves are well versed with resuscitating somebody who may collapse on the bus stop or on the roadside, and they will be able to sort of do this. But we find that in our place, sometimes even qualified doctors say, I am an orthopedic surgeon. So even I may not be that competent to do this type of resuscitation, which was another felt need. So we felt that even as early as the first year, and I'm sure there will be opportunities for many of you to learn these aspects even as you go along into the other phases of your MBBS curriculum. So I think these were some of the major ideas with which the foundation course was introduced. And can you all see the slides?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you
Yes,
can
sir.
see.
Yes, sir.
So,
Yes, sir.
this concept was understood, and now I know because of COVID, a lot of things which could have happened on site is happening online, and I'm really thankful to the first phase teachers, in particular Dr. Ganesh, Dr. Padmavati, and all, and Dr. Kalpana for actually bringing in quite a lot of these concepts even through the online mode. And I'm told most of it now, it's about 3 months since you people have joined, and most of the aspects have sort of been covered under this. And one of the components under the foundation course is the importance of this white coat ceremony. Before I actually start off, let me make it just a little interactive. Has any student read about this, or they have an understanding of what exactly this means? I'll give you about 10 or 15 seconds for two people to interact on this. Any student can come up.
Sir, it is an entrance into the medical profession, sir.
Right, right. So why should it be white? Why can't it be red?
To signify purity, sir.
Yeah, very good, very good. So, so I'm sure many of you have just the idea of asking this question is most of these details of what this means is now available on the net. There is no really a huge introduction that is required for this, but then it's a class of nearly 250. I can't be sure that all of you have sort of gone through some of these resources to know what exactly is this. So in the next 25 minutes or so, I would sort of tell you some details about the white coat ceremony and the importance of this and how this came about, the evolution of such a concept and all these details. Um, so I don't know how many of you have heard of William Osler. Now, he actually says that the practice of medicine is an art. A lot of you have a thinking that the medicine is a science, but more importantly, particularly when it involves patient care, it is a huge art, and it is not a trade. All of you are in the first year. You have to understand, although there is private practice and there is so much of commercialization that has happened even in vaccination and other areas, it is not a business, and it's a calling in which your heart will be exercised equally with your head. That means compassion along with cognitive, that is your brain function. And if you add the definition of Swami Vivekananda, he tells that education is all about developing uh, the harmonious development of the head, heart, and the hand. He has brought in the psychomotor component of learning as well. So this is how emancipated people have sort of come out with appropriate definitions, and you must understand that you are into a profession which involves all components like knowledge component, skill component, as well as the attitudinal component. The first use of white coat, when you look at the literature, was in the UK in 1889 in the Agnew Clinic. As you can see here, patient is sort of being examined by a group of healthcare professionals. One of them is a doctor, one is an attendant, and there is also a nurse there. So it is possible for this type of interaction with some sort of a discipline. And if you see, there are a group of students who are also watching this entire thing happening. Now, they are all in different forms of dresses, and you see that this white coat actually signifies quite a lot of importance to medical care. Now, in medical education, if you look at the greatest credit for modernizing medical education as it stands, forget the days of Shruta and Sushmitra and all. Those were times when the teaching used to be purely on a guru shishya type of parampara, where certain steps of procedures will be taught by the teacher to the student, and those principles are holding good even today. But then the Flexner report actually transformed the nature and process of medical education. It was mainly in the United States of America, but then there is a lot of further transformation that has also happened. The Indian Medical Council Act itself came into being in 1956, and when this happened, you found that there were repeated regulatory changes that happened. The first attempt at medical education being regulated was in the year 1981. Then almost after 16 years, you had the next regulation, which was approved in 1997. But many of these regulatory details of what is to be taught and what is to be learned are not actually known to many faculty members and even students. So that part of how medical education should be, the credit should go to Flexner. But we found that when we looked at the present curriculum that was introduced in 2019, almost 22 years after the 1997 regulation, we found that Flexner report actually suggests more and more of theoretical scientific knowledge learning, and less and less of skill, and less and less of attitudinal component. So it was realized that these are also very important components of medical learning, and so the this particular report was very carefully looked at and critiqued, and then the newer changes have been introduced. Now, why white coat? As rightly told by one of the students, the color white, even if you look at it in the national flag, it is supposed to sort of represent purity, totally blemishless, pure color. And for that, this was chosen as a part of the ethos. This was supposed to be given to medical students, nurses, and even some healthcare professionals in the beginning. I'll just let you know later on that this particular concept is changing, and this has been exclusively given the white coat to only the medical doctors now. This again, after in 1910 was the Flexner's report. After that, by 1915 and onwards, you find that a lot of surgeons, they are doing procedures with the white coat on. Those were the days where the scrubs and other things had not been there, and so this used to be a component of the surgical attire as well. Now, by the end of World War II, as I'm talking about 1945, 1942 onwards, when Alexander Fleming, through the innovation of penicillin, the antibiotics came into being. The white coats actually became a standard for medical students, residents and fellows, doctors and nurses. Even at this point in time, nurses also used to have a white coat, but they were of different types, and we will not discuss too much about those types, but that was again at that point in time. So it actually evolved as a symbol of medical excellence and purity, and it continued to gain momentum as the 20th century actually progressed, and we are now into the 21st century. And now there is also this argument. I know that there are four students who are going to be talking at the end of my whole presentation, and also after the pledge and all, and they will definitely tell you that there is a huge article that came in the New England Journal of Medicine regarding the chances for infection by wearing a white coat, and that somehow seems to be sort of driving away people from wearing these coats. And to my mind, people who practice good infection control practices should not be arguing on that line, because the moment you are going to get your coat washed very regularly and cleanly, keep it clean, I don't think it can be a source of infection. Then there was this group of pediatricians who also started feeling that children get frightened when they see people with white coat in a formal dress. And so for those people also, they suggested that this should be given up. Even in the United States, now pediatrics is one specialty where doctors do not wear white coats. So this is something about the importance of the white coat. And if you see that the white coat reminds physicians of our professional duties as prescribed by Hippocrates. We all take the Hippocratic oath, but we have to really read through the oath to understand that we do promise by taking the oath that we will lead our lives and practice our art in uprightness and honor. And this is also important and is sort of getting into your mind as soon as you have the dress in appropriate order for such type of work. And the white coat is an important component of the same. Now, white coats are the attire exclusively meant for medical doctors. Now, this concept is very clear. In fact, pharmacists have a different color. The nurses have a different color. and those are the standard colors that are accepted. Some institutions may have a different practice, but white coats are entirely reserved for doctors. Now, it is also equivalent to the black robe of the bar council, like the advocates, the lawyers. Actually, the white coats, they are not expected to be used by other professions, and so these are some of the norms. Then there is this small concept. I'm just opening it out for you to understand, um, that students generally wear half sleeve, and usually the teachers tend to have full sleeve. But all these things are undergoing a lot of change. But that was the norm with which it was started. And again, some people used to wear long coats right up to the knees, and some people wear it right only up to the hips. So this also was controversial. Students usually choose the shorter version of the white coat, and so this is something which is still debatable, what is ideal and what is to be used. It has got multiple purposes. Apart from being a sign of purity, a sign of honor, the coat is also a protective. That is, it protects you from many of the splashes and other things that you may come across while treating patients, and it will not go on to your regular dress. So these are some of the advantages. And previously, this was never given during the first year. It used to be given only after you get into the clinical years, or sometimes even at the time of internship. So wearing a white coat actually gives a medical student some of these important things. It gives you an identity. Actually, when you enter into a hospital or a medical institution, the security or the lift personnel and other people, they always start respecting a person who's got a white coat. So remember that while there may be the proponents who may argue against a white coat, there is always this advantage that you get a little more respect. And so that is one important thing. Definitely, it builds up your confidence. When your attire is good, obviously, you start talking with a lot more confidence and authority. Of course, for the patient wise, the moment they see somebody with a white coat, they automatically associate them as a doctor, and they start trusting them. And there is definitely some amount of empowerment that you get when you go in the appropriate discipline dress for the profession. And our profession is also expected to exhibit some of these things: passionate, tender, loving care, compassion towards patients. See, this is a point where you have to draw a thin line. Passion is important, but it should not be superfluous. Like when you get into a patient's details, there is a point up to which what is useful for the treatment is what is important. Sometimes you may get to know a lot more details than what is required, and you should be in a position to dispassionate yourself also out of such type of things. And then our profession is a large team effort. It involves multiple different specialities, and so we should have an understanding about that as well. And we are expected to have good, effective communication. Now, when I tell all these characteristics of the profession, I believe that when you are appropriately dressed, it automatically gives you a chance to exhibit many of these qualities. And that is why I brought up these discussions. Of course, as a doctor, you must be able to also exhibit some amount of experience and experiential learning along with your students as well as your patients, and also some lifelong learning. So the medical curriculum, I just started off while I was talking about the changes that have happened since 1981, the 1997 regulation, and now the 2019 regulation. And there was not time not long ago when medical students spent their first 2 years in lecture halls and labs only, in the dissection hall, in the lecture hall, in the physiology labs, biochemistry labs, etc. But now the scenario has completely changed. As early as maybe the first week itself, there are chances for you to actually visit the hospital, notwithstanding the COVID situation presently. The patients are introduced to you very early in your career, and you will be able to sort of interact with patients. And for this, the appropriate attire is very important. Take appropriate history, do a physical examination, and you would find when you wear the coat. I'm sure many of you might have seen movies where even though the concerned person is not a doctor, if he wears a coat, the patient generally gets convinced that he is a doctor, and he allows him a free and fair physical examination. You will, of course, learn how to think clinically and arrive at a diagnosis in a more orderly and formulated way. Now, these are some of the concepts that you will be hearing and you will be undergoing through the MBBS career, which is all present in the competency-based medical curriculum. I talked quite a bit on foundation course. Early clinical exposure is actually to give you some sort of a clinical understanding as early as the first year of your MBBS course itself. And there are several opportunities that you already might have faced or would be facing in the remaining 7 or 8 months before your first year exams. Of course, the alignment and integrated learning is something I'm sure you already started experiencing with some of the topics, and this will be also done in a particular period of time. All these subjects, like it could be a topic like diabetes, where the physician, the endocrinologist, the biochemist, the physiologists, all these people will start off putting in their sort of knowledge and the skill for you to learn these things and treat these patients. Of course, there are special sessions that have been possible for skills training, where you will be sort of spending time in the skills lab with mannequins and learning quite a lot of things in a contrived situation. Of course, the learn and doctor method of learning is one place where the white coat will be of great help. Otherwise, as young doctors, the patients don't get the confidence, and so this particular method of learning also will have the white coat very importantly used there. And there is this concept of electives which will come in the third year after you finish your ophthalmology, where you will be permitted to go to a particular discipline of your choice, one in the basic science and one in the clinical science. So during the MBBS, a clean white coat can make such a difference in the care of your patients. This I've reiterated several times in several different forms, and so this is something which you should remember. Do not forget to wear the coat, because the moment you wear the coat, that itself brings in a different type of atmosphere in the place where you work. They also, as I told you, they inspire more confidence amongst the patients and their students as well. Now, this is another thing that previously we used to call it as a registered medical practitioner, but the present graduate medical regulations actually allows you to call yourself as an Indian medical graduate, and the white coat actually endorses this definition of the Indian medical graduate, which actually tells that you must possess, the moment you start wearing that coat, the understanding for the general public or for the society is that you are a person who is knowledgeable in medical field, who has the skills, the attitudes. Most importantly, we have added these words values and responsiveness. You must respect the values of every community or every person, and you must also be responsive. Even in the middle of the night, if there is a call for a cesarean section or a delivery, you must be able to run after that, or a trauma patient coming to the emergency room, you must be able to give an immediate response by going to that. Nowadays, there is this mobile and telephone and so many other things which are coming to place, which sort of takes away that human element between treating doctor and the patient. So that he is able to perform very effectively as a physician of first contact of the community, and who also is globally relevant. Now, we would also like you to become competent doctors while you wear the white coat. And what the best definition of a competency, as you can see, is that it is the, you should be a good communicator. You should be very good at medical knowledge. You must have the technical skills. You must have clinical reasoning skills. You must value the emotions and values of the patient. And you must have the art of reflection. And when you do all these things together for a particular patient, then you become a competent doctor. So the white coat ceremony is a rite of passage, welcoming all of you as medical students into the medical profession. Initially, as I told you, this used to be given in the third year. Sometimes it used to be given during internship, but now it is very clearly brought out that you will be given this during the first year itself. And today is the day that you are all going to experience this particular ceremony. And it signifies the beginning of your medical journey. And then the first white coat ceremony actually was held in 1993, as late as, although the concept was introduced way back in 1910, it took almost 83 years before actually the formal white coat ceremony happened in a Columbia University in the United States. And it was Dr. Gold who is believed to have started this practice, and he felt that medical students should be given well-defined guidelines regarding the expectations and the. See, there are two things in medical profession. One is the right. Most of us tend to keep on talking about our own rights in terms of what we can do or what we should do or should not do. But there is a huge element of responsibility towards the patient. And this is something which is not clearly understood. And that is something which through the white coat ceremony and through our talks and in many experiences that you gain, you will understand more and more about this responsibility. And it is believed that a declaration of commitment should be taken at the beginning of the medical training, not at the end. And it signifies that the students accept the obligations of a profession at the beginning of medical education. So as you get in, now it is hardly 3 months, three and a half months since you have joined. Now, within this time itself, now you know that you are getting to understand that this is a highly responsible profession and a highly responsible thing that you are accepting to undergo. And the medical students are bound by the same professional commitments that bind all physicians. There is no difference here. You cannot say that I will be altruistic. Some doctors will be altruistic. Some doctors will be professional. That type of thinking does not happen. All these broad attributes, broad competencies are something that each and every medical doctor should possess. And you are expected to learn and display extraordinarily high levels of professionalism and empathy. Now, what is altruism? A lot of people don't understand this. I must just say, service above self. That is true altruism. That more than caring for your own self or your own family, how you are going to help the society and other people is what is important. It is, of course, an honor to wear the white coat. It actually commands quite a lot of respect, and you will be able to be seen as a person who is compassionate. I'm sure in general public, and you're all first year students, you would know that when you look at somebody coming in as a doctor, you always think of him as a very pious, courteous, passionate type of a person. Very rarely you find a person who loses his temper or who is disrespectful to the patient. So it is important that we are able to bring in all these core virtues, and one of the important components by which we bring this up is by wearing the white coat. At this point, I'm going to actually stop, and I'm going to expect all of you to wear your coats. And when you do that, uh, uh, I'll give you about 2-3 minutes for each one of you to wear the coats, and then I will read out the pledge, and you can repeat along with me. Can people wear their white coats? Now, this is very strange. We used to do it in the seminar hall or even the university auditorium, and now. So there are 2 slides that I will be reading out, and I want you to repeat it as I read through each line. We pledge to uphold and advance
To uphold and advance
social order and the well-being of our fellow members
social order and well-being of our fellow members,
and shall devote
and shall devote
all our energy
all our energies
promote the unity, integrity, and secular ideal of our country.
to promote unity
Unity and integrity and secular idea of our country.
And secular ideal of our country.
Yeah.
and secular ideology.
Unity, integrity, and secular ideologies.
Yeah. Then the second part of the pledge. Yeah, we swear
We swear
to sincerely endeavor
To sincerely
endeavor
to serve all those who need our services
to serve all those who need our
services
services
to the best of our ability
our
to the
best of our ability
wi- without any consideration of
without any
consideration of
caste or status.
Creed or status.
Very good. So we so that was the pledge, and invariably this pledge also comes in a slightly elaborate form on the day you receive your degrees in the convocation. So your journey, I wish you all the very best. Now this is just a slide which shows you all in white coats doing different things. Like here it is, they are doing some sort of experiment in the biochemistry lab. This is the osteology class, small group discussion areas where you also, so wherever you go within the institution, I would like you to be all in white coat. This is what I was telling. This is a student and probably this is a teacher who is taking them to an area of work. So I would just end by saying that it was Francis Peabody who wrote way back in 1927 that one of the essential qualities of the clinician is interest in humanity. We should be able to help humanity at large, and for the secret of the care of the patient is actually taking care of the patient, caring for the patient. So what it means is that the focus and the theme is ultimately to provide good patient care. Any amount of theoretical learning is useless if you are not going to be able to apply that to patient values and patient benefit. I will stop my particular class, I mean, talk here, and I would want Ganesh to take it forward in terms of some students' interaction, and then also to see how you like the particular session, some amount of reflections.
Can I ask the students to share their
Please.
feelings, sir?
Please.
Yes, thank you, sir. Now I call upon Varsha Prakash to share your experience. How do you feel the Josh about the white coat ceremony importance?
Yes,
Welcome
sir,
you.
sure. So, good afternoon to one and all, to the Vice Chancellor and Dr. Ganesh sir, and all my classmates. So, we all remember the first day we wore our white coats on, don't we? So, I was very happy and excited about starting the next chapter in my life, mostly because medicine is something that I've always wanted. My friends and family were also as happy and excited as I was. But it was not just the feeling of contentment that I felt, but also the responsibility that comes with wearing the white coat. Not long ago, we were all school children anxiously preparing for boards and entrance exams, and now we're all medical students training to become good doctors one day. And it's definitely a very big step for all. So, the white color is often associated with purity, perfection, simplicity, compassion, and peace. And just like that, a medical professional is expected to be effective and skilled enough to take responsibility of a person's life and do everything in their power to provide the best medical care possible. They're also expected to be compassionate and empathetic so that they can satisfy not only the patient's medical needs but also their emotional needs. But our journey from medical college to becoming a medical professional may not be as sparkling as the color white. And also, not to forget, our white coats won't be either at the end of the day. We will have tight schedules and difficulty in managing time. We will have to make crucial choices, take risks, and at some point, we might even question our competency. But at the end of it, all of it will be worth it. With the pandemic endangering the lives of so many people, there hasn't been a better time to realize what important role medical workers and health professionals play in the society and all the risks and sacrifices that they have to make so that they can provide us with quality healthcare. So, wearing the white coat reminds us that we have signed up for a very important and meaningful job, and it's our responsibility to grow every day intellectually and emotionally so that we can do justice to being a doctor one day. All the white coat warriors and frontline workers definitely deserve a mention here. A very big salute for their service. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Well done, Varsha. You have revised most of the components of the profession. Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Sir. Now I call upon Sahil. Sahil, are you there?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. You come in your video mode and you start your experience, share your experience about white coat ceremony and its importance.
Yes, sir. Definitely, sir. Good afternoon to one and all present here. I'll tell you something that I wrote actually. It goes like this. A child's earliest memory of a doctor is the person in the white coat. The average person arrives at the hospital expecting to be treated by an individual in their white coat. The white coat may not seem like a life changing attire for the average person, but to a medical student, it is one of the first symbols of the advent of their medical career. The ceremony that marks this is, in fact, our prestigious white coat ceremony. But does it symbolize anything else? Yes, it also symbolizes professionalism, caring, and trust, which they must earn from the patients. It symbolizes purity of hearts and soul and good intent. Therefore, as students, we must learn and display extraordinarily high levels of professionalism and empathy. For both our families and friends, it is not only an opportunity to feel pride, but also a reminder that their loved one is going to be engaging in one of the toughest rites of passage. Their support and understanding will be essential for the entire life. But our coats also have a surprising history. As we already know, they used to be black at one point of time. Uh, Change actually came to the practice of medicine and the medical world years earlier when an 1892 textbook of medicine by William Osler, as it says that how malaria was spread by mosquitoes during the construction of the Panama Canal. And that drove the idea of the value of cleanliness and antisepsis as one of the foundations of medical science, according to Dr. Hochberg. The white coat, as a symbol of medical excellence and purity, continued to gain momentum as the 20th century progressed. Some believed street clothes helped spread the germs easily. And there are many theories about why the white coats became more and more popular for doctors. But to quote Tonya Thatcher, uh, she says, and I quote, I do think it, as in the white coat, carries the real symbolism of being in the field. I am working in the hospital right now, and there is so much confusion. I feel it symbolizes a very special connect for every health professional donning it. To some, it will signify the hope and confidence that they give to the patients, and to let them know that in their most emotional moments, their most vulnerable moments, and the difficult moments, that it is okay and it will be okay. Thank you.
Excellent, Dr. Baig. Uh, it was nice to hear that in your younger days of childhood, you used to identify the doctor with a white coat. But now that's why I brought it even in my talk, that there's a lot of resistance for kids doctors, the pediatric doctors, to be wearing white coat. Somewhere down the line, children have changed or doctors have changed. We don't know. We'll have to find out the appropriate evidence. Very nice, very nice. You brought out some of these aspects. Good. Yes, Ganesh.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your words of appreciation. Thank you, Sahil. Now I call upon Marian Celis to share your views and experience and Josh about white coat ceremony function.
Yes, sir. Benedict Cumberbatch once said, doctors and nurses do crazy hours and keep an ideal afloat through the love and care that they have for their craft and their patients. Good afternoon, respected dignitaries, Vice Chancellor, faculties, and my dear friends. I'm Marian Celis. I'm delighted and proud to deliver this speech at this momentous white coat ceremony. On this significant day of our medical career, I'm reminded of a Greek mythology about the birth of Asclepius, the son of Apollo. Apollo, the god of medicine, snatched Asclepius from the womb of Coronis, his dying mistress. When she was pregnant with Asclepius, Apollo ordered a white raven to guard her. The white raven was her protection and shield, the guardian angel in times of despair, doubt, and devastation. The white raven, the white coat, both symbolizes hope. Hope is that flickering flame of the candle that ignites and brightens the entire dark room, heedlessly consuming itself with the fire. In the words of the poet William Wordsworth Longfellow, as if a door in heaven should be opened and then closed suddenly, the vision came and went, the light shone and was spent. With the white coat, I take upon myself not just the responsibility and commitment, but also the duty to altruistic service with compassion and love. From renowned doctors like Elizabeth Blackwell and Ida Scudder to Muthulakshmi and Shanta, numerous women have imprinted their names in the golden sands of time only because of their promise to save souls willingly in any part of the world. The white coat that I would don from this day forth for the rest of my life would be my constant reminder and strength to ride the wave. I want to be an angel, but with a white coat instead of beautiful wings. Thank you.
Excellent, Marian, for
Thank you,
bringing
sir.
up the Apollo story and the first delivery. Very nice. And you related to the white coat with an anecdote very nicely.
Thank
Yes,
you, sir.
Ganesh. Yes, Ganesh.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you, Marian Celis. Now I call upon Ananya to share her views and thoughts and experience and Josh about white coat ceremony function.
Yes, sir. It's all about the attire. The first feeling of a clinician sets footsteps on an undergraduate's mind when the white coat embellishes the attire. Good afternoon to one and all present here. I'm Ananya Anand Srinivasan, a first-year MBBS student at SRMC, and I'm here to express my views highlighting the essentiality of the white coat. How does a patient discern who is the doctor? As it is rightly said that the first impression is indeed the best impression, just the presence of the white coat will tell the subject that you're a doctor. The charismatic exuberance that radiates from you when you wear the white coat is indeed an unparalleled feat. Any MBBS student, for that matter, would most definitely love to, in colloquial terms, flex their entry into the MBBS stream. And the most subtle way to do so is to adorn
the white coat. The white coat complements most of the other medical devices commonly used by the doctor, especially the stethoscope. A stethoscope devoid of the white coat is akin to Iron Man without Jarvis. Apart from the viewpoint of identification, the white coat is a symbolic representation of cleanliness, vigilance in preventing the spread of an infection, aims to maintain a professional distance between the doctor and patient. The purity of a doctor is justified by the presence of the white coat, and the seriousness of a doctor's rights and duties is evident when it is put on. It is a testimony to the thought process a doctor must have once he or she begins serious postings or consultations. With that, I conclude that just the meager presence of the white coat will satiate the typical and ideal picture society has of a doctor. Thank you.
Thank you, Ananya. Well done. Actually, you brought
Thank you,
in
sir.
the aspect of keeping your coats clean, and that is something which every one of you should follow. Because I still remember some of the people who argue against wearing the white coat are the ones who will keep their white coat in the dicky of their car for 5 days, 7 days, and then it becomes definitely not correct to wear such type of white coats. Very nice, very beautifully brought. Thank you. Yes, Ganesh.
Yes, thank you so much, sir, for your time. And we have four of them have presented, sir, about their
Excellent, excellent.
views about white coat ceremony. Thank you for your time, sir. Thank you for sharing your experience and thoughts and values of white coat, new curriculum, and how students have to go about it. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for your time, sir. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. I'm so thrilled to be amongst the youngest budding doctors.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Sir, I'll ask them to post what they feel about their white coat ceremony in their chat box, sir, and we also document that, sir.
Exactly. Very nice. Very nice.
Sure, sir. Sure, sir.
In fact, a lot of you should put it on the chat box. We can keep it open for another 5-10 minutes on your, whatever you feel. All the points that were brought out by each one of those four representatives were extremely good, extremely nice, and you really have understood the value. But the problem is, it should not be a one-day show. It should be really internalized within yourself. Thank you. Thanks, Ganesh.